Only 7 weeks remaining to the U.S. presidential elections, and the Republican candidate Donald Trump was subjected to another assassination attempt. A gunman hid undetected for almost 12 hours at the edge of the golf course where Trump was playing golf on Sunday. And the question of yet another security breach affecting the polls is at the forefront. The assassination attempt comes just 2 months after the former president narrowly escaped the attack. At the Florida golf course on Sunday, a Secret Service member had a glimpse of the alleged gunman and his AK-47 style rifle. Before he could get a clear shot at Trump, the agent opened fire, forcing him to flee. The suspect, identified as Ryan Routh, was taken into custody soon after. However, the security experts questioned why the agency failed to find him sooner. The acting head of the Secret Service has said that he remains in close communication with the White House and Congress on its needs, though he said that Trump is getting the highest level of protection provided. Meanwhile, Trump blamed the rhetoric of President Biden and his Democrat rival Kamala Harris for the assassination attempt he faced on Sunday. In an interview to Fox News, Donald Trump said the rhetoric is causing them to be shot at and me to be shot at when I am the one who is going to save the country, and they are the ones that are destroying the country, both from the inside and out. Moreover, Trump's second assassination attempt may help his poll campaign in the last weeks before the election. The July 13th assassination attempt on him had rallied his supporters, calling the attempt to kill Trump a consequence of hate directed at him by his opponents. Meanwhile, the second assassination bid at Trump also garnered social media users, with many circulating memes on various social media platforms. All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by Adel Nazarian, Senior Media Fellow at the Gold Institute for International Strategy from Washington, D.C. Adel, great to see you, and thank you so much for joining us. Unbelievable to see in less than 2 months, or 2 months or so, another attempt at Donald Trump's life. How credible is the charges by the former president himself and his supporters that the attacks on him is due to the rising rhetoric, notably from President Biden and Vice President Harris?
It's so great to be on with you again. I mean, I really, again, I didn't expect this to be so intense until after he would have gotten elected, but clearly they're doing everything they can to stop him, which means he's probably winning in the election. Gets to be seen. But I definitely think that it's a matter of perspective, yes. Is the rhetoric coming from the Democratic camp actually enhancing and, increasing the likelihood of, the crazies or unhinged people to come out and attack Trump? I actually do think that it's helping. I think that when you're constantly out there spewing hatred and vitriol towards a Democratic, a candidate in a democratic country like in America, and you're constantly berating and saying that this person's evil and they're going to cause, destruction and destroy America, when we know that actually the party in power is the one that's contributing to America's demise culturally, it's going to cause people who listen to the news and who are listening to the rhetoric in the 24/7 media cycle to probably act out. And I think there is some truth to what Trump is saying. The hateful rhetoric is actually leading some people to praise people to take action like this Ryan fellow did, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we talked about this. We were saying that he's probably not going to be safe if he becomes elected. But as you mentioned, here we are once again talking about an attempt on his life just before the elections. How do you see the issue panning out in the coming weeks in the run-up to the election? Do you think this rhetoric might change on the one hand? And what about in the polls? We can't help but talk about how this is going to affect the polls and the American people going to vote.
Oh, definitely. One thing also, Suzanne, I forgot to mention is apparently the place Ryan Routh was hiding out was a paparazzi blind spot where the paparazzos kind of go and scope out too. So some kind of collaboration going on there. But I think this is 1000% can be played up. You saw how during CPAC, he was wearing the patch on his ear. Obviously, he was grazed, but this is something that he has every right to. I mean, I have to tell you, if it was a Democratic candidate that was in the same position, they would play it up too. This is politics, right? I think Trump should absolutely play it up. I think he should definitely go out there and speak about the fact that there are so many attempts being made on his life. And I think it will end up helping him in the polls. I think we saw a sharp rise in his polling numbers. Of course, polls are misleading, as past presidential elections have determined that for us. But I think that it will help him, again, probably moving the undecided voters from the middle more towards the Republican side, or those who absolutely hate him to be even more convicted, convinced that they need to do whatever they can to recruit their friends and family to vote against him. But at the end of the day, I have to say, I don't think that Trump is undermining democracy. I think that's a very, very, strong and dangerous rhetoric that's being pushed by his Democratic opponents. And I just hope that the American people can really do their own investigations outside of what the 24-hour news cycle, 24/7 news cycle is presenting them with, and to see, is he actually doing what's best for America, or is he doing what's going to benefit those abroad over the American people? And I think that'll help them determine who they think the better candidate is come November.
Yeah, the American voter is very smart at the end of the day, and we'll see what happens in November. Adele, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for that perspective.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.